to anybody that I have ever been with, I have made a better man for the next girl. So you're welcome. Like, I definitely need some child support, like back ordered. Healed men are so weird. Like, what is the reason? I literally have an ex who has a baby on the way, has a literal offspring on the way, who still looks at my stories and like checks on me to see what I'm doing. Sir, what the hell? What are you doing? Go buy diapers and wipes and get your baby registration, baby shower registration put together. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Why are you on my page? Sprinkle, sprinkle. I finally figured out how to work this tripod after having it for literally almost 2 years now. So, hi.
Hello, stranger. It's been a minute since we last kicked it. And by the way, just got in town, and I won't let you in this club.
All right, y'all, we're back. I really have not been posting because I have not had shit to talk about. Like, I'm being so honest. I really just have had nothing to talk about, and that happens sometimes, okay? I don't know if it's like a Pisces thing or if it's just a moody ass bitch thing. Y'all, I really don't know what it is, but sometimes I just really don't have anything to talk about. I'm not gonna come on here and fake it, okay? Like, I'm just not gonna do that. Good job. Oh my god, where have y'all been? What's the new gossip? What's everyone listening to?
What is the 411? What has everybody been up to?
This hyaluronic acid, little ASMR moment, so good. And on the Yuka app, it's a 9 out of 10, which means that there's no endocrine disruptors. Let's talk. Let's catch up. Where am I at right now? Well, the Lord has been testing me. I've not been studying, bitch. It's just like always something. Does anyone ever feel like you want your life to be peaceful, but maybe you're just not meant for that? Because the way that my life be, like, I really just don't understand. So, friendships, let's get into it. I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna talk as if I'm like talking to myself or on like a FaceTime call with somebody. If y'all like it, y'all like it. If not, piss off. Friendship is such like a weird thing for me. I feel like ever since I was a young little girl, all right, I've had an issue with friendships. Like, when I was younger, I feel like I was always that friend that was just like left out of things, or I was always that friend that would be like, oh, you could come if you want. Like, yeah, you can come if you want, but like I never felt like people actually like wanted me there. And no, that is not a trauma response. I just had really shitty friends growing up. I look back and I'm like, girl, why was I friends with those people?
Are you not ashamed of yourself?
So crusty of me. Now I don't feel like that. Like, I feel like now I have a pretty solid core. I have probably 3 really good friends I consider like my ride or dies, my best friends. And then I have like probably like 10 to 12 acquaintances. There was this quote on Twitter the other day that I read that I literally resonated with so much, and it was like, you don't have to have deep, meaningful connections with every single person that you come across. And if you feel like you have to have a deep and meaningful connection with every one of your friends, like, that's probably more so like a trauma thing that you got to work through, because you're not supposed to have deep, meaningful relationships with everyone. There's certain friends it's like you call and you kiki and you go out and you drink and you cut up and you have fun. And then there's other friends where it's like, you know, you have those deep, meaningful connections and conversations to have like this whole platonic soulmate relationship, right? But not all of your connections are gonna be that way. Like, that's just how it is. Like, you don't need to have deep and meaningful connections with absolutely everybody. But there's like this one friend that I've had, and she's been pissing me off over the past couple of years, man. Like, pissing me the off. And there's been plenty of times where I have gotten such warning signs to just cut this friendship off and to just let her loose, let her go back to the streets, right? And I had a really big wake-up call recently where I finally did that, and I didn't say anything. It's so funny because, like, oh my god, I have to wax my armpits so bad, so please mind your business. I'm probably gonna zoom that in because no one's gonna catch me slipping on the internet. It was so funny because like my daughter the other day was like talking to me and she was like, I don't want one of my friends and I just don't know how to tell her that I don't want to be friends anymore. And I was like, well, you don't have to tell her that you don't want to be friends anymore. I was like, sometimes in life people are going to irritate you or they're gonna just push your buttons, and guess what, you could just separate from them. You don't have to tell her anything. Like, you could just silently start to drift away a little bit. And that's kind of like what I do with, I used to have to feel like if I was cutting somebody off, especially a man, that I would have to send them this long, huge paragraph of a text telling them the reason why I was cutting them off and that I wish them the best. And then one day I grew up like a year ago and I realized like you don't have to do that. Like, if you really are not feeling a friendship anymore, or you're not feeling like, of course if you're in a relationship, yeah, like have a conversation, but if you're really not feeling a friendship anymore, you can just slowly start to drift. I'm not saying ghost them, I'm not saying like block them or delete them. Communication's important, but if they're like a not shit friend anyway, they're not really gonna notice. Like in my situation, I struggled after high school with friendships because I left New Jersey and I came to Connecticut. And when I came to Connecticut, I reconnected with a lot of my, well, 2 or 3 of my childhood friends, right? 2 or 3, and I loved them like literally so much, and we would hang out and everything would be great. But I had this one friend that would use the crap out of me, you guys. And listen, it's not her fault, it's my fault, because what you allow will continue. And even the best person in the whole entire world is going to take advantage of you if you make yourself too easily available, right? Too free, too like, oh my God, yes, let me come. Because listen, one thing about me is I used to be a people pleaser, and I would say I'm a recovering people pleaser. I wouldn't say I'm a graduated one just yet. I'm getting there, but I have come leaps and bounds when it comes to people pleasing, because it's a trauma response. First of all, I grew up seeing my mom be a huge people pleaser, and I think the reason why I carry that on was because I saw her doing it. But also, you know, like growing up, I always just wanted to do good and have that validation. Before we get started with today's video, I did really quickly just want to give a shout out to one of my favorite fragrance companies, which is Dossier. If you guys don't know who Dossier is, if you've been living under a rock, it is a fragrance company, a luxury fragrance company that takes your favorite fragrances, designer expensive fragrances, but turns them into their own version that literally smell the exact same. It's a complete and utter dupe, okay? For only a fraction of the price. You can get a perfume from Dossier anywhere from like $29 to $39, sometimes $40 if it's a more in-demand one, but for the most part you can get them for an extremely affordable price. Even the most expensive perfume on Dossier is a fraction of your favorite designer perfume, like Marc Jacobs, Chanel, Versace. This is like one of my favorites. It's called Fruity Magnolia, and it is a complete dupe for the Versace Bright Crystal Noir. This is Rihanna's favorite, which is Floral Marshmallow. I've had a ton of you say like, girl, you put me on to Rihanna's favorite perfume, and it just smells so amazing. Oh my God, that's ambery vanilla. I meant to say this for a marshmallow. And then of course, honorable mentions are always ambery vanilla and ambery saffron. These, oh my God, this one goes crazy on TikTok. Crazy. For YSL Black Opium, dupe for Baccarat Rouge. And then together, amazing as well. All these perfumes you can find conveniently on their site. They also do candles as well. This is how you know like I love Dossier, because I just have all these products here because I really use them, you guys. Like, I look at this candle. I just got this 2 days ago. It's already like almost gone. Ambery vanilla. They take the candles as well. If you like, you know, one of the perfumes, put it into a candle, make your room smell all nice and things like that. Dossier is just a jack of all trades. I love them so much. I know that you will love them too. So if you want to support the channel, or you want to just get a new perfume for your mom, or for, they sell men fragrances too, your boo, or a candle, you can go ahead and click the link in my bio. At checkout, use my code Dakota10 for 10% off of your order. Save your coin, okay? And it will just show the brand that, you know, my supporters support me. I really do, like, guys, like, I really have, I'm not even joking, this is on my vanity at all times, this full thing of fragrances. Like, I'm not joking when I say that I literally use the crap out of these, plus the candle. I'm a huge fan of Dossier, and I'm confident that if you are a first timer that you will be too. So like I said, go ahead, click the link in my bio, use code Dakota10 for 10% off. Dossier, thank you so much for working with me and sponsoring today's video. It's always a delight to work with y'all. Now let's get back into the video. and whatever. And so naturally I grew up as an adult who became an overcompensating people pleaser. And listen, the excuse of like, oh well, I'm just an empath, blah blah blah. Girl, cut the fucking shit. Literally cut the shit, because who is it benefiting? Being a people pleaser does not benefit anybody besides the person that you're pleasing. It doesn't please you. It doesn't make you a good person. In fact, I'm here to say that being a people pleaser actually makes you a bad person, because you are neglecting your needs and your wants, and you're catering to somebody else's and completely forgetting your own. And sometimes the most toxic relationship that we will ever be in is the one that we have within ourselves. My most toxic relationship was the one that I had with myself, not with fucking Adrian, not with like, you know, other people. It was with myself. And isn't it so funny how I can't remember a lot of my ex's aliases names because they're so fucking irrelevant? Like I look back at my past dating life and I am literally fucking mortified. I am absolutely mortified. I was saying that to myself this morning. I was like talking to myself because I'm repelled by men right now, okay? Like I'm literally repelled by men. Can't stand them, can't stand to look at them. Like my friend Romance is in such a good relationship right now with this guy that she met off of Bumble. And we went out for some espresso martinis because that's shit I like to do now. I am over my club days. My city girl hat is officially up. And it's not coming down anytime soon. Probably never. Maybe I'll let her out once in a while. You know, Sasha, if you've been following me for a long time, you know Sasha's my drunken alter ego. Maybe Sasha will come out like once in a while. But she ain't coming out a lot no more. I'm really just not a club person. Like I've been doing that shit since I was like 18. Like it's just, I'm 29. Not that age matters. Like age does not equate to if you should go to a club or not. I think you should do whatever the fuck you want to do. But if I'm being completely honest, I'm just over it. Like it's just not my vibe anymore. It's not my scene. Men are crusty, dusty, rusty, busty. And who spends $100 on a bottle when you can go get a bottle of Patron for $35? Girl, bye. Not me. No ma'am, no ma'am, no ham. So anyway, I'm just like so repelled by men right now. We were on our little espresso martini date and I was like, I'm so happy for you. You deserve it. Like, yes, got a good one. But I said, I'm so repelled by men right now. They disgust me. And she started hysterically laughing and she's like, why? And I said, there's no reason. Like, it's not like, she goes, what happened? I said, nothing happened. I've been single for almost 2 years now. My 2-year mark is going to be in October. I know a lot of you guys are confused because you're like, oh, but you have story times over the past year and a half of you dating men. I was never in a serious relationship with them and I never got past a certain point because
I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing.
Thank God my fucking spirit guides, man. Like, so I got out of a relationship in October of 2021 and then I went on a date with that guy that I told you who like did jujitsu and shit, fucking broke ass loser. And then I started a little bit talking to my ex, not the one that I broke up with, but one from like 5 years ago. That did not last long. That was probably the most serious thing I've been in since I've been single. And then I went on a date with that Scorpio in January, which we'll get to that in a moment. And that's really been it. So nothing serious and nothing long lasting, so I don't really count that. And since that, I've just been on my own, just being like, ugh, so disgusted by men. And this is the first time in 3 years that I've been single for the summer. Like the whole summer. Like 2020, I was talking to, what did I name him? I think Jose. Talked about him a little bit in the time I dated a pathological liar. But also in my ex and his friend fought about me. Something like that. I don't know. I'll link the videos here. With him in 2020. And I was fucking miserable. I will never forget. I was with him and I was miserable because we just weren't right for each other. He treated me fine, but it was a very bare minimum. My standards now are so high, it's like disgusting. As they should be though, and as yours should be too, because bare minimum where? We don't do that shit around here. No. So remember I was like at brunch and I like pulled my friend Tori aside and I just started hysterically crying. And I was like, I'm so fucking unhappy. I want to be away from him, but I don't know how to break up with him. I was afraid to break up with him because I felt bad. She was like, do it now. Rip the band-aid off. I used to have really bad like abandonment issues. I thought to myself, well, if I break up with him, I'm going to inflict that abandonment that I know so well, right? onto him, and I can't do that. Like, that's just not something that I can do. So instead, I ended up staying with him and prolonging our relationship and making him, you know, feel as if like everything was fine. And then one day I kind of just dropped the bomb, and he was like, well, what the fuck? I mean, no, not what the fuck, because I mentioned several times that I did not want to be with him, and a couple times I broke up with him and he threatened to himself. And now I know better. Like, if somebody threatens to do that, just call the cops for a welfare check. A welfare check. I don't know why I just said it like that, but a welfare check, and bada bing bada boom, that's it. Because never let a man talk you into staying with him by saying he's gonna himself. I've had 3 guys do that to me. Adrian did that to me so many freaking times. The times where I actually like, girl, get up. This is fucking embarrassing. He's cheated on you. You've had confirmation from multiple women about how he's been creeping with them behind your back. Like, girl, get the fuck up, Dakota. Embarrassing. Like, get up, girl. Get the fuck up.
Stand up! Stand up!
Oh my god, I wish I could go back and smack myself. Oh, that was a lot of foundation, wasn't it? What was I talking about? Something with Adrian. I don't even like talking about him because he's so disgusting to me. So gross. Ugh. He has a girlfriend now, and they look pretty happy. But I don't think that they're gonna last, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, I only know that because my friend told me. Because now we just like laugh about him because I don't have any feelings left for that man like anymore at all. Like, he's just so gross. And there's so much more that I found out about Adrian after we broke up. Like, this girl that I'm like really good friends with, we have never met before, but we're only friends because of him. So when he was working at that jump place, right, she worked there too. And there was one day where I found them messaging on Instagram, and so I reached out. I sure the fuck did. I used to be that, I don't care. And I was like, hey, I saw you like messaging my boyfriend, and I'm just wondering, because I knew something was going on. I was like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, nothing, we're just friends. Like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for it to look that way. She was lying, but I don't blame her because this girl was 19 years old. 19 years old, which, first of all, Adrian, you were like fucking 24, 25. Why are you talking to a 19-year-old? Fucking weirdo. Weird ass bitch. Weirdo. And so one day randomly after me and him had like officially broken up, she reached out to me and she's like, I just want to let you know, like, you deserve so much better. Like, Adrian's an asshole. I hope you've, like, you know, cut him off. Like, he's an asshole. And I never even questioned like why she sent that. I think I just in my mind was like, she just, I don't know, like, she sees that I've been going through a lot and like, you know, whatever. And lo and behold, when Adrian was working, if you have no idea what I'm talking about if you're new here, I don't know what to tell you, you gotta catch up. Watch my Adrian Storytime playlist. Basically, it's my narcissistic, pathological liar of an ex-boyfriend who deserves to rot in hell.
Rot in hell!
And say hi to R. Kelly on the way. Sometimes I feel like I'm just like a walking intrusive thought. Do I care? No, because it's the truth. So when Adrian and I were together, he was working on that jump place. Remember how he cheated on me with that girl who was 18, Nikki? And me and him got back together. He was cheating on me with multiple people from that jump place. Not only was he cheating on me with the girl that I just told you about, the girl that I'm like friends. So anyway, we became friends because she reached out to me and was like, oh my god, you deserve so much better. And then we just like follow each other on social media. And then we would just like talk randomly like on social media. And then somehow, I don't know how, but I gave her, I think, my number, or she gave me hers. I don't know, girl. And then we just like started voice noting each other all the time, just about like the relationships we were in at the time or like whatever, right? So anyway, we got to talking a lot, and then one day we like randomly brought him up, and she told me things that I never knew about when I was working at that jump place. And I was like, hold up, I never even knew, like, what happened when you randomly texted me and said you deserve better? And she's like, oh my god, girl, I never told you. So she said that basically she lied to me when I reached out to her and asked her if her and Adrian were anything. And she was like, girl, I'm so sorry, like, I was 18, I was 19, I was young, like, I was just out of high school. And I was like, listen, it's okay. Because what Adrian likes to do is, the girl he's talking to now is like 28, so like, congratulations, Adrian, you're now dating a woman who is not underage. Because him and all of his stupid ass friends like to date girls who are young as fuck because they like to manipulate them. And I guess he woke up one day and realized that's not gonna work anymore because he's getting older and nobody wants to be with the 32-year-old. Anyway, so well, not when you're like 18, right? And the parents, hello. If my daughter was dating a fucking 32-year-old at 18, I'd be like, guy, that's what narcissists like to do, is they like to date women who are younger, because when you're younger, you're not as experienced, and understandably so. Like, you are excusably naive at 18, 19. Like, I'm sorry, but you are. You're excusably naive. Like, you're supposed to make mistakes at 18. You're supposed to do stupid shit at 18 because your prefrontal cortex is not even fully developed, girl. Like, you're supposed to be naive. Hello. But then here comes a stupid ass, insecure, unhealed man trying to come into your life. Because let's be real, what does an older man want with a 18, 19-year-old? I'll wait. He wants someone that is easily controlled and manipulated, because men don't like to grow. Men don't like to grow. Men don't like to face their demons. Men don't like to seek therapy. And it's so evident. Like, it's just so fucking evident. There's this video on YouTube. I think her name is Monica. I'll link it, of course. And it says, why men like younger girls. And she just goes in, and I am obsessed with her for that exact reason, because she just goes in on these gross ass men who are older and prey on younger females because they want to be able to control and manipulate them in order to feed their ego, and also because they want to cheat on them at the same time because they're low-key fighting their sexuality. That's another discussion for another time. So anyway, she was telling me how they were together. Well, he wanted to be with her, right? And then there was one night where they went out to Buffalo Wild Wings. And I remember that night because me and him were together. So we had broken up because he cheated on me with that girl, Nikki, right? Got together with her. They broke up. He came crawling back to me, as he always fucking did. But hey, I'm stupid because I took him back. So can't blame him too much. Like I said, what you allow will continue. What you allow will continue. That's not the victim shame. I hate when people say I'm victim shaming on here. I will never shame a victim of a narcissist or a man who ain't shit. Because at the end of the day, yes, in a perfect world, we should concentrate more on the men and, you know, being like, why are you such a piece of garbage? But unfortunately, in the world that we live in, these men's mothers are never going to do their job and raise them correctly. So we have to, as women, brace ourselves and protect ourselves against these dusty crusties. And I'm sorry, but sometimes when you stay with a man, when he's cheating on you or manipulating you or lying to you, and you find out and you stay, you're enabling it. Because what do you think? It's going to change? People don't change. People don't change unless something catastrophic happens, unless somebody hits a rock bottom. Whenever you're talking to somebody who's like an alcoholic or an ex-drug addict or whatever, what do they say? I got better because I woke up one day and realized that I hit rock bottom and I didn't want to live my life like this anymore. And so I woke up and I changed. Are they going to say, oh, I woke up and I changed because my family and my wife kept giving me chance after chance after chance? No, my dad didn't get better until my mother left him. When my mother decided to take her 2 kids and move and go live in an apartment where we could barely afford to keep the heat on, that's when he got better. Like, he woke up one day and realized, you know? So I'm sorry, but no, staying with a man, like I was just watching, I know how I'm jumping from topic to topic. If you don't like that, like just don't subscribe to this channel because I don't know what I'm about to tell you. So, I was watching Vanderpump Rules because I've been, oh my God, girl. Scandal, I've been doing a deep dive and I went back and watched all of the seasons over again, bitch, all of the seasons. And there's this wedding special where him and Brittany got married, and Jack's in the like background. They were doing their little like wedding interviews, and he's like, I put that girl through hell and back, and she stuck by me every single time I cheated on her, lied to her, manipulated her, so I know that this is the woman for me. How embarrassing. If I was Brittany, I would have divorced his ass a long time ago. I would have gotten married and saw that he said that, and then I would have divorced him, because that is so embarrassing. Ladies, please stop being a ride or die for men. Please stop being a ride or die for men. It's embarrassing, it's distasteful, and it's disgraceful, and it's disgusting. Please do not, we need to teach the future generation that is coming that do not go through hell for a man. Do not go through hell for a man just so he could look back and be like, I deserve to marry you because I put you through hell and back, so I know you deserve it. What? No, when you are with the right person, they do not need to put you through hell and back in order for them to realize that they should marry you. Like, are we freaking okay? Like, that statement is so distasteful. Please teach your daughters, teach yourself, okay? Listen to me when I say this. Love is not being a ride or die for a man. Love is not going through hell for a man. Love is not being cheated on, lied to, manipulated, and then going through years and years and years of couples therapy and finally having him change for you and be the man that he needs for you after 10 years. That's not love. That's fucking prison. That's prison. And we need to get Kim Kardashian to get you out of that shit immediately, because no. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry though. Like, that's just no. Anyway, so back to what I was talking about. So apparently he came back to me, right? And and listen, I'm talking about this because I've made these mistakes. I'm not judging, but I'm sitting here and saying I've made these mistakes and I've come out of them, so you can too. There's no fucking excuse. There's none. Get past yourself. Get into some therapy. I know that toxic dick is good because that's the thing, is the sex is so good you don't want to leave, but girl, get fucking past it. It's embarrassing. Oh, I'm staying with him because the sex is so good. Girl, that's so embarrassing. Go see a therapist, because that's not okay. Like, and I'm not judging, I'm just saying I have been there before and I'm out of it now, so I can sit here and I could talk about it and say things like that because I've done the work to get out of it, which means that you can too. I look back at myself and I'm embarrassed. I know a lot of times people say no regrets, and listen, I'm happy I've been through everything that I've been through because it's gotten me to where I am today. And now I have my story to share and things like that, but I don't want my daughter going through this shit. This shit's embarrassing. I look back at myself with my relationship with Adrian and a couple of other ones, and I'm embarrassed. I'm disgusted with myself because I'm like, how did you let someone treat you like that? Like, and I think we should have regrets in life. I think that one day you grow up and you realize that the whole don't have regrets thing, it shouldn't really be a statement, because you should have regrets. There should be things that you look back on and you're like, you know what, I do kind of regret that a little bit, but this is how I'm going to learn from it. I'm not saying sit there and wallow in self-pity, but I'm saying realize that you should have some regrets in life, you know? I regret staying so long with Adrian. I mean, yeah, I made for a great story, but my therapist is having to hear about it. Not now, because I'm so over that shit, but you know, in my past, like, there should be some things that you regret and are embarrassed of. I'm just saying, it builds character. So she was saying that, like, he wanted to be with her, but then all of a sudden he, like, pulled away. And when he was pulling away, I guess they had gone out to Buffalo Wild Wings. And I remember this because this was the reason why I messaged her, because he was supposed to come over and he was like, yeah, I'm going out with, like, a coworker, and then I will come to your house after. And I was like, oh, okay, like, no problem. By a coworker, I thought he meant a male, because one thing about me is that if I was out to dinner with, like, friends, and say, like, those friends brought their boyfriend, or they brought their brother or their cousin or something, and he found out they were there, he would explode on me, you guys. Explode on me. But yet you went out to dinner to Buffalo Wild Wings with a girl coworker and then had the nerve to post it on your fucking Snapchat. So I texted him and I said, oh, what's that? I was like, you're out with a coworker, huh? And he's like, Dakota, stop. She just is one of my friends. I'm training her, blah, blah, blah. Gaslighted and manipulated me so fucking much to make me feel like I was crazy. You guys literally told me, and this was always Adrian's excuse, was, oh my God, she's only 18. She's only 19. Well, fucking proof is in the pudding, and your track record is you like little girls because you're disgusting. So I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Look at your track record. Look at your track record of preying on younger women. Like, what are you talking about? So he tried to make up this huge thing, and he was like, well, last week you were out to dinner with guys. I said, out to dinner. And so the next day I messaged her and I was like, yo, what's going on? She's like, oh my God, no, like, we're just friends, like, blah, blah, blah. So apparently she said that night when they went out to dinner, because he had wanted her for so long and she kept, like, denying him because she said he would flirt with everybody. She sent me a picture of him hugging this girl from behind at the cash register where people would come in to pay for their tickets to jump. We were together at that time. It was like winter time. We were locked in heavily, because I remember we got back together in September, and broke up in October and then got back together heavily from October to February. And then February was when I found out he got that girl pregnant. So anyways, yeah, she sent me that picture and she's like, oh my god, look, like what an idiot. This is recently, you guys. We were just like talking shit about him and she's like, oh my god, I'm gonna go back into my old snap and see if I still have it. So anyway, we're talking and she's like, yeah, you know, when we went out to dinner, I told him like, oh, I think I'm ready for us to be together. And he said no, that he wasn't ready and to just keep doing what we're doing. So he was talking to her and talking to me at the same time, and I guess they got into like a really bad fight on the way home. And then he ended up coming over after. I remember that night he came over, he was like upset, and I was like, what's wrong, what's wrong? He's like, nothing, you're just stressing me out. Meanwhile, I wasn't even the person that was doing it. So she told me that that I guess like somebody at the jump place came up to her and was like, I'm not trying to get involved, but I know that Adrian is talking to you. He's talking to this 17-year-old girl that worked there, this other girl that worked there, so 3 girls that worked at the jump place he was talking to, having sex with, taking out on dates, everything. And he was like, I know for a fact that he is back together with his ex while he's doing all this with y'all. And I never knew this, you guys. I just found this out last month. I never knew any of this. And I'm like, girl, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, well, because when I finally reached out to you, you guys were broken up. And I was like, yeah, we were broken up, but we ended up like hanging out like 6 months after that. And then that's when I realized like I just never wanted to see him again. I'm like, you could have told me. And she's like, I'm sorry, I was young, like I didn't know any better. And I was like, no, I will give you a pass because you were young. But yeah, every year I found out something new about this piece of fucking shit. Like, he's literally such a piece of garbage. Like, he's fucking disgusting. And I had this mutual friend. They were really good friends, and then they stopped being friends. And me and this kid would, like, you know, I'd see him out or whatever, we'd talk. And then recently I found out they were hanging out again. And I was like, and he's like, well, he never did anything to me. And I'm like, do you know how much shit he talked about you when you guys weren't friends? And he's like, yeah, but like, you know, I talk shit about him too. And I'm like, okay, but you know, like, everything that he's done to girls and to me, and like, you want to be friends with someone like that? And he was like, oh, well, he's like, well, he actually calls me and hangs out with me, you don't. Clipped. Bye. That boy called me like 3 times last week. I did not answer. You're fucking disgusting. Why are you hanging out with that piece of shit? You're gross. You're gross. Anyway, so what was my whole thing in saying that? Oh yeah, so I found out like so much, and me and her were just like talking about him and just like saying how like pathetic he is, because he just is. And it's funny because he doesn't know that I know like half of this stuff. Like, he really thinks that he got away with so much, and that I only know about him cheating on me one time, which he never admitted, with Nikki, the girl he was working with. And when I was talking to my friend and we were comparing notes, she's like, oh, he definitely cheated on you with her. She was like, they would hang out, you know, all the time after work and whatever. And then, yeah, they broke up. He got back with me, but then he was also still cheating on me with all these other girls from his job. And I don't understand how. First of all, yeah, he was literally cheating on me with one girl who was like 17. And she's like, girl, when I found that out, I like went to her house and I told her, like, stop talking to him. This guy's a creep. 17 and you're like 25. You're fucking gross. You're gross. I say that to say that, yeah, he's in a new relationship now, and I found that out recently, and I was like, that's just not gonna last. Because one thing about Adrian is Adrian will never change. He will never change. Even when he apologized to me, I think like this time last year, and we started to talk a little bit again, because I thought he had changed. I was like, oh, it seems like he's like kind of changed and, you know, he's doing better. No, still the victim, still everybody else's fault, still thinks that everything should be handed out to him, still thinks that he's a great guy. Sorry y'all, I got cold. It's a little cold in my room. But yeah, like, basically I just had to realize that he is never gonna change. Like, he's always gonna be the victim, and he's always going to just treat women as if they're disposable. And something that really happens with men that I see as such a common theme is they will be like big man on campus when it comes to high school or a couple years. Oh, well, that's embarrassing. It's a little bit embarrassing. whatever. What are you gonna do? But they will have a ton of girls after them, and they will kind of like have this like peak where they have a ton of girls after them. Everybody wants them, like, oh my god, Adrian, blah, blah, blah. And then you hit a certain age where girls just don't care anymore. It's like you already freaking burnt your bridge with the million of girls that you screwed over in your early to mid 20s, and now the younger girls don't want you anymore because you're old. Because you're old, and probably because their mothers taught them better. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So I feel like after a while, sure, maybe they'll change because they're like, okay, well, if I want to get a girl now, I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life. I have to change a few things about myself, right? But nobody really changes that much, and nobody has sustainable change. Like, it's just the first few months. Not that I'm preying on the downfall of his relationship. I actually feel bad for the girl, because anybody that has to be with him, I feel bad. If he were to like get therapy, settle down and get help, then maybe I would have hope for him. But the fact that he hasn't just says a lot about him. So yeah, sorry, there's not too much faith here when it comes to the Adrian train. I don't even know why I brought that up. Oh, I think because I was bringing up the fact that I was like a people pleaser, because, you know, I saw my mom doing it growing up, and also I used to seek validation through how much somebody needed me. Like, I used to seek validation from these men that I would get into these relationships with, and I would realize that they need healing, and I'm like they either have these mommy issues or daddy issues, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, we all have them these days. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. Like, we all have like something going on in that department, right? But I would always be like, oh, well, they just need a good girl to come into their life and help heal them and help nurture them and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of times I would seek validation from how much I could make a man better. Like, how much, because I would see, listen, anybody that I have ever been with, I have made a better man for the next girl. So you're welcome. Like, I definitely need some child support, like back ordered, from their mothers or their new girlfriends. I take Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, bank wire transfer. Let me know what payment platform works for you. We can get something set up, and yeah, so I'm kidding, but I'm not. I like the funny part, I'm really not. But as I got older in therapy and just getting to know myself and whatever, I stopped doing that. But my people pleasing still creeps up from time to time, especially in friendships. The type of friend that I am, and you'll have to realize that we all categorize our friends differently. So I could be sitting here and I could be like, oh my god, he or she is my best friend, or she is my #1 best friend, and they could be like, oh yeah, that's my friend, oh yeah, that's my acquaintance. Just like other people could be out there saying they're my best friend, and I'm sitting here being like, yeah, that's like my acquaintance, we're cool, you know what I mean? So just stop putting everybody on a pedestal unless you know that you are also equally being put on as like on a pedestal, because that's so embarrassing, right? So basically the type of friend that I am is I always like to help people, because I don't have a lot of help in my real life, you know. I have my mom, my dad, but I really don't have like family. Like, you know, people be like going out to cookouts and stuff and like, oh my god, yes, family fun. Like, I don't have that. I really don't have like cousins. I do, but like, we're not close. I'm not really close with any of my brothers. So a lot of you guys don't even know I have brothers. I have 3. Well, I disowned the 3rd one, so I only have 2. But like, people are so shook when they find out that I have supposedly 3 brothers, and because like I don't know, life just took us separate places. Like, I couldn't tell you, but when I have friends, I kind of look at them as like family. My people pleasing really comes up. So like I said, when I was younger and I first moved back to Connecticut, to finally get back to my first topic of choice, right? It took like a fucking hour, girl. I reconnected with a lot of my like previous friends, and this one friend that I had just like really used me a lot. I got back in contact with her. She was a single mother, and the father was like nowhere around, and it was just her. And she kind of was in my same situation where she didn't really have a lot of family, and she had friends, but none that would ever like help her out. And I felt really bad for her. Meanwhile, let me remind you, I was freshly 19. I was a baby. She had her baby while she was still in high school, so she was probably like 16, 17. So when I met her for the first time, she had a boyfriend, but the boyfriend like didn't have a car, didn't have a job, didn't have any money, whatever. That's her prerogative. I'm not here to judge anybody. So basically she realized that when we got together and we were friends, that I was a people pleaser, and I really feel like she preyed on that. And I'm not saying that she didn't love me. I know that she loved me. I know still to this day she probably still loves me, right? Because we were in the same cheer team, we were in the same elementary school together, same middle school up until I moved. So I know that she probably loved me, but I feel like our relationship was very much so transactional, to the point where she only looked at how much she could benefit from me off of how many times I said yes to her. So every time she needed a ride somewhere, she lived 30 minutes from me, you guys. She didn't have a car, but she was busting her butt working a job. Meanwhile, her boyfriend did not contribute to her at all, didn't help her out, nothing. They even ended up getting an apartment together at one point, and she was paying all the bills. And it's like, why can't this man go work? And she's like, oh, well, he's trying to get his rapping career together. Oh, not the SoundCloud rapper. Not the SoundCloud rapper. Where is he now? Nowhere to be found. So I'm just like, but I'm just like wondering, why is she not relying on him for help? Why is she not asking him for help? Like it didn't make sense to me. And then one day I realized, like, oh, look, he pretty much is useless. Like he's literally just like a fucking speck of dust in the air. Like might as well just go and blow him away. So she would ask me for help a lot. She lived 30 minutes away from me. If she needed a ride home from work, I would come get her. For us to hang out, I'd have to pick her up, and we'd have to like go somewhere. So I'd always pick her up, and we would always go to the mall. There was one time where this man, her boyfriend, was having a show where he was rapping. I went out with her and went to go watch the show. She had surgery one time, and she had no one to take care of her. So I went there on Mother's Day, this is way before, this was pre-Aubrey, okay? And I stayed with her and took care of her. There was one time where her son had to get a procedure at the hospital. I went to her house at 3 in the morning, picked the both of them up, went to the hospital with her, stayed with her for 5 hours at the hospital, left, went with her to go pick up his medication, anything that he needed, and dropped them back off. I didn't get home till like 5 p.m. the next day, you guys. And meanwhile, I didn't get anything from this. I didn't ask for like gas money or just money in general or anything, because this is my friend. Like if you're my friend and we're going out to dinner and you're like, oh, I don't have money, bitch, I'm paying for you. If you're my friend and you message me and you're like, hey, do you have $50? Yeah, I'm gonna give you $50. If I have it, girl, yes, we're all eating together. If we're going out somewhere and your card declines, I'm paying for it. Like that's the type of friend that I am, okay? And that's the type that I've always been. And I just feel like I naturally have a very giving nature to me, because I know what it feels like to have nothing. I know what it feels like to not be appreciated. I know what it feels like to not have anybody, right? So I was always like a really good friend to her, and I noticed that she would only, this took a long time for me to register in my head, but she only would call me or text me when she needed something. It was like, hey, come hang out, I miss you. And so I'd come to her house and sit there and be like, my boyfriend needs a ride from the train station. Do you mind if we go pick him up? Or one time I picked her up, we went to the mall, and she was like, oh, my son accidentally deleted Instagram from my phone and I have to download it, but I owe Apple this amount of money, so I have to like pay $1 to get the app. I put my card in there and let her buy it. There's just like so many freaking times, you guys, that I like helped her out, and I realized that she would only call me when she needed something. And woke up one day and realized, I was like, yo, this girl uses me. This girl uses the absolute shit out of me. I'm like, I love her and I want a friendship, and I kept giving her chance and a chance after chance, and she just kept letting me down. So finally I woke up one day and I was like, Dakota, dead the friendship. Yes, you know, say happy birthday, say Merry Christmas, and I loved her son so much, so it hurt me to do it because I do still to this day like miss that little boy so much. I love kids. Like, I was made to literally be a mother. Whenever we're with her son, like, I would always take over because I'd be like, yo, like, you are with this kid every single day, you barely get a break, let me do what I need to do. So like, I would put him in his carriage, buckle him in, I would like push him around the mall, and I would like wonder what life would be like if I was a mother. And I was just like obsessed with it. Like, I always knew from a young age I was gonna be a young mom. I went to like several sidekicks that all told me I was gonna be a young mother. Like, I was just like, I was meant to be a mom. That's like one of the things that I truly feel like I was like put here to do. And so yeah, like I missed him, and I knew that there was like so many things that I'd miss about our friendship, and this was my childhood best friend, you guys, right? But I just realized like our relationship is super transactional, and she doesn't really love me for me. She loves me for how much she can benefit off of me and how I show up for her. And there's a lot of people in life where you think that they love you, but they don't actually love you and who you are to your core. They love how you show up for them. They love how you're always there if they call you or they text you and they need something, or they love how you're always there if they need to vent about the ain't shit man that they should have broken up with 5 months ago. Like, there's always going to be people in your life who will only love you based on how much they can get from you. And the minute that you put up those boundaries or you say no, they don't have much use for you anymore. So with this girl, it wasn't her fault because I was allowing her to continue to use me. But at that time, I had no friends, you guys. I had no friends at all. And so I felt like, well, it's better to have somebody than to have nothing. Or it's better to have, you know, somebody, even though she doesn't treat me well, it's better to have that than to have no friends. And one day I woke up and I was like, yo, I'm so done being used. I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my money, I'm wasting my resources, and I'm not doing it anymore. And you know what? It's like, I think that her story made me feel for her, and even though I was getting used, I kept giving her benefit of doubt. Well, you know, she doesn't have help. She doesn't have help. She doesn't have help. But fast forward to my situation now where I have my daughter and I really don't have help. I'm like, nobody is out here fucking calling me being like, hey, let me come take your kid for 3 days so you can get a break. Nobody's out here calling me being like, hey, you know, let me come pick you up and give you a ride to da-da-da. Like, no one's doing that to me. And I'm not saying like, of course you should treat people the way you want to be treated, but nobody's doing that to me. But yeah, I'm that person for so many other people. Like, make it make sense, right? I realize that it has nothing to do with the people and has everything to do with me, because what you allow will continue, and you set the standard for how everybody else will treat you in your life. So I had to realize one day that like my people-pleasing tendencies were not anybody else's fault but my own, because even the nicest, most empathetic, compassionate person in the world, if they see that every single time you say yes or they say jump and you say how high, they're gonna use you. Like, it just is what it is. Like, I know that it sucks, I know that it's wrong, but even the most nicest, most Mother Teresa person is gonna use you if you make yourself easily used. So hold on, let me get my lashes. Fast forward to now. I have this like one friend. I'm not going to give much context to anything, just kind of tell you my issues and where I stand now. This definitely was like a sign from the universe to see if I had learned my lesson. And I just feel like I failed it so bad. So I had this one friend where we were really cool and she seemed like a nice girl. We both had a lot in common and I really, really liked her. And I was looking forward to building a new friendship, because I used to be so scared of meeting new people and cultivating friendships, because it's just like a new person, they don't know me. Like, what are we gonna talk about? What's gonna be the context of the conversation? What if we were not actually to talk about? What if I say something weird? So I ended up meeting up with her and we hit it off and everything was great. And I noticed how at first everything was fine, and then like a year, I want to say, into our friendship, she just used the shit out of me. Like, she used me as a therapist. She used me as like that sound voice to talk to whenever she had guy issues with the same man that I've been telling her for years and years and years to fucking leave, and she wouldn't listen. And I would spend hours giving her this advice, giving her this constructive feedback for her to be like, you're right, I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, and then just continue to stay and put up with the same shit, but then cry the same story over and over again. And I stayed there with her because, like I said, I know what it's like to be in that predicament. So I try very hard to take my feelings out of it and to only care about and withhold compassion for the person and their feelings that are going through said thing. So that's kind of what I did. But slowly but surely, you know, the using for a therapist turned into using for other things, like, you know, babysitting, or hey, can you like do this, or can you do that, and into like favors, like, oh hey, can you do this for me, or can you do that for me, and da 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 da. And again, I just kept saying yes because I felt so bad. And like I said, I know what it's like to not have help, especially when it comes to like a child or something like that. So I found myself just always constantly saying yes all the time. Yes to everything. Yes to, can you come here and do this? Can you come here and do that? Can you come here and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, like, you know, I feel bad for her because she doesn't have help, X, Y, and Z. Every time she needed help, just with anything, like I would just always be there. And let me like just remind you, like, this girl has like a ton of people like in her family, and I always wonder, like, why is she not calling them? Why is she not texting them? And then I realize it's because they say no, because they have boundaries and because they have shit to do. And I'm over here just being like yes, yes, yes to everything. So of course, if someone knows that I'm gonna say yes, oh my god, I don't know where my tweezers are, so I gotta use this hair clip. How get. Like, I'm just over here saying yes to everything. So if I say yes to everything, she's gonna not go to other people and ask other people because she knows that she can just call me. And the issue, this is the thing, I didn't mind doing these favors for her. The issue became an issue when I realized that with all of her other friends, she would like ask them to go out for lunch or for dinner and to do like really fun, cool things like brunch, get-togethers, whatever, you know, clinking glasses with this person and that person. But she never would ask me to go to lunch. She never would ask me to go to dinner. She would never ask me to go do these fun things. It was always just, can you? And when we did hang out, like, she'd be like, oh, hey, like, come over today, you know, like, I'm bored, you know, we can cook or whatever. I'd come. And we wouldn't cook, we wouldn't bake, we wouldn't do anything that we said we were going to do. Instead, she would be like, oh, can you watch, you know, so-and-so for a few hours while I go to the store? Can you do this for a few hours while I blah, blah, blah? Or she would ask me to watch, help her out with like a babysitter, like a week after or something. Like, oh, next week I'm going to this place, I have no one to watch, can you? But, and I'm just like, you literally only called me over here just to ask me if I could do something for you, and I'm sorry, but the answer, well, I said yes, but I started to get really annoyed. So then I started to realize that after this, that every time that I would ask this individual to hang out, they would be like, oh yeah, sure, like, I would love to hang out. Like, I would ask them to go somewhere. I'd be like, oh hey, you know, let's take the kids here, let's go here. And they'd be like, oh my god, yeah, totally, like, that would be so much fun. The day would come and they would not say anything, and then when I would reach out, I'd be like, hey, like, are we still on, are we still going? Oh, sorry, I can't, I have to do blah, 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 blah. After I already got my daughter all excited that we are supposed to go out to this place, like, with the kids together, and, you know, she's excited, and Monday to Friday she's like, can't wait for this weekend so I could see my friends, can't wait this weekend so I could see my friends. And then the date comes and you tell me, oh, sorry, I can't, something came up, or oh, sorry, I forgot this, or I forgot that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that if one of your friends were to say we had plans and one of her friends were to text her and be like, hey, are you free today? She would probably drop plans with me and go hang out with them. It's a kid-free night very often, so when I do, I like to take advantage of it as anybody would with a fucking child. So I dropped my daughter off at my mom's house, I'm getting ready to leave, and they text me, it's like literally 10:30, and they're like, hey, I'm actually leaving the spot right now and I'm just gonna go home. And I'm like, but we had why wouldn't you tell me this beforehand? And they gave me some like sob story that made me be like, oh, okay, like, never mind, I get it. But it's like, what the hell? And like, that just happens all the time. Where like, we'll have plans and I'll text them the day and be like, hey, I'm gonna be here at this time, like, when are you gonna meet me? And be like, oh, sorry, I can't. So eventually I stopped telling my daughter about when we were supposed to like hang out with them because I didn't want to get her hopes up. And over the past couple weeks, I tried several times to make plans with this person because I think I was just trying to like give them a chance to redeem themselves. And the last straw was when they did this to me like literally 2 times in a row. We were supposed to do something and the day comes and they're like, oh, I reach out and I'm like, hey, which first of all, if I never reached out, they wouldn't have said anything about the plans, which is a red flag in itself. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be here at this time, are you gonna come? And they're like, oh, sorry, I can't, I forgot I had to go to so-and-so's house and I don't have money or like whatever. And I'm like, okay, but you probably knew that days ago, so why wouldn't you as a courtesy? Oh, sorry, I have so much going on. I am so sick of that excuse from people where they're like, oh my god, I have so much going on. Newsflash, wake up, sprinkle, sprinkle. We all have a lot going on, okay? We all have a lot on our plates. We all have a lot to do. But if you wanted to, you would. Period. Eventually I just had to get to a point where I was like, sat down with myself and I asked myself, okay, in life, I truly believe that if it is not an absolute yes, then it's an absolute no. And I sat there and I said like, okay, does this friendship make me feel good? Sometimes. Do you feel like you receive at least 60% of what you give? No. Do you feel like this person's there for you as much as you're there for them, or at least when they can be? No. Do they show up the way that you show up for them? No. Like everything was a no, and I was like, why the fuck am I still in this friendship? So when I got that text message saying again that they weren't gonna come and that plans were canceled, I was like, you know what? This is what I was talking about, where like sometimes you don't have to do the long paragraph, or you don't have to do the whole, this is why we're not friends, this is how I'm feeling. Because the thing is that I'm always somebody who advocates communication, explaining how you feel, emotional intelligence, but as much as communication is important, so is receptivity. And when the person that you're talking to can't receive the information with the same emotional intellect that you have, it's kind of just falling on almost deaf ears, and they're not going to get it, so what's the point, right? It's not going to hit the way it's supposed to hit. Sorry y'all, my back is killing me. I need a chair with back support. If everybody wants to cash at me $5. No, for real though, I do need to get a new chair. I've said things to this person before where I've been like, you know, I feel like we don't show up in the same ways for each other. I feel like I put in way more effort into this friendship, or, you know, when you did this, it hurt my feelings, X, Y, and Z. And I just feel like I'm just not trying to be in a season anymore where I am dismissing my feelings, or I'm watering myself down because you don't want to grow and because you don't want to water your own self, right? And so you look at me to do it for you, and I'm just not in that season of my life anymore when it comes to friends. Like, I really just am not. Like, if I just feel like you're using me, or better yet, because I'm a very, like, I love communication. So if I'm I always communicate how I feel. If I feel a type of way, I will say to you, hey, this made me feel this way. How can we make it feel better? You know, let's come up with a solution together. And when I constantly am doing that, and I just feel like you're continuing to just not give a shit about my feelings, you really just gave me a whole permission slip to just X our friendship and just X our connection, because I've already done the first step, which is self-evaluation. I went ahead and did the second step, which was address how I feel. Ball's in your court now. And then you just keep doing the same thing. So why am I going to stick around and co-sign your mess? Like, I'm just not going to do that anymore. It's not the season that I'm in anymore, and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm just not trying to waste my time anymore. My time is limited. My time is precious. And I don't want to be around people who are using me. And I also don't want to be around people who take my kindness for weakness. But also, it takes me establishing boundaries, and boundaries are so hard when you were never taught them, first of all, but number two, when you are a recovering people pleaser, because a lot of times people are used to you being a certain way, especially if it's a relationship or platonic friendship in your life where that person has been around you for so long, and they're used to benefiting off of you overextending yourself and constantly showing up for them and constantly being there, that when that one time calls and you don't pick up a phone call or you don't drop what you're doing to go physically help them, now you're a bad person, or now you've changed, or you're not the person that they once knew, because God forbid you have boundaries. The only people that get mad at you for having boundaries are the ones that benefited from you not having them. The only people who get mad at you for having boundaries are the ones who get mad that you finally see your own power and your own self, and that your time is very precious and valuable, and that you're not going to waste it on people who use you. So if you are like me and you are a recovering people pleaser, please do yourself the favor this year to start saying no. No is a full sentence. No is liberating. And you don't have to come up with an excuse as to why you don't want to do something. If you just don't want to do it, you don't have to. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no secret sauce or recipe. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And that is enough of a reason to say no. But yeah, y'all. Oh my God, wait, I forgot to tell you. So remember I was telling you guys about that Scorpio that I went on a date with in January, right? So we went on a date. We went on a couple dates, actually. Everything was going really well. You know, we're FaceTiming all the time. We're talking. We're chatting it up. We're communicating. Everything is going so good. And we developed a really cool bond and connection, right? So one day comes and he wakes up and he's like, I still have feelings for my ex. And I talked about this on my SZA vlog, right? And I was on my way up to Boston and I was kind of telling you guys what happened. So he was like, I'm not over my ex. I still have these conflicting feelings. And I didn't realize it till now. And I'm the type of person where, like, listen, if you tell me, male or female, if you tell me, hey, I need more time to heal, I'm not done healing yet, I'm never going to be a type of person to get mad at you for that, because that is like my whole brand. Is like, sis, go heal. Boy, go heal. Go heal. Heal, 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 heal. Go heal. So I understood it and I accepted it, and I was like, you know what? Like, I get it. This hurts like hell. I really liked you. This was my first time opening up to somebody, you guys, in over a year. So it did really hurt, but I understood. No, he did not leave me to go heal. He stopped talking to me because his ex was back in the picture. So his ex was back in the picture, and I know that because he unfollowed me off everything. We had this great last final conversation where I was giving him all this advice because he asked me, how do I heal? What do I do to go forward? And this is what I'm talking about, where men just, like, they see I have this, like, nurturing, opening, giving heart. And they're like, let me just, I know I could heal if I'm with her. So let me ask her what I need to ask, and da 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 da. So I'm telling him all of these things. I'm like, you know, you just gotta feel your feelings, or you just have to do this, or you have to do that. Like, you have to, you know, really sit and process and heal. And then every day, you know, that you wake up, just choose to keep continuing to heal and moving forward. And you deserve better, X, Y, and Z. I'm saying all these, like, amazing things, right? And so we end up leaving the conversation, and he unfollows me off everything, and I'm like, bro, what? We just had this great parting conversation. Why did you unfollow me? So I text him and I'm like, why did you unfollow me? Like, I don't understand. Like, I thought that we were good. I thought we were cool. Doesn't answer. Find out that he's following her again. They're dating again. They're going out, whatever, right? So one day randomly I get a DM in my inbox and it's like Dakota with a bunch of A's, and I'm like, sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So I finally opened the DM and it's from him. And then I'm like, that's weird. So lo and behold, he actually ended up following me on Instagram. I didn't know that until I went to go look at his profile, and it said the little, like, follow back thing. And I'm like, oh, he followed me. I look at my notifications because I don't really, like, I get so many Instagram, I'm just so famous. No, I'm kidding. I get so many Instagram notifications that, honest to God, like, I really don't notice when people follow me. I barely notice when people DM me. Half the time I have Instagram deleted because I'm going through a crisis, and I'm like, I'm just gonna delete all my social media, move into the woods, and become a fairy part-time. And then I'm like, okay, no, Dakota, like, snap back into reality. Get out of Delulu land, bitch. I know you're a Pisces, but get out of that shit. We got bills to pay. Get the camera out. Let's go. And so I'll re-download all my social media. I'll miss, like, everything. Like, I'm like, oh my God, my DMs are piling up. I don't have time for it. So half the time I turn my notifications off, which is what happened in this situation. But then I turned them back on because I was like, I want to know when J.I. goes live on Instagram because it's my baby. So I'm like, oh my God, he followed me 16 hours ago. So what I think he thought was that he was going to follow me and I was going to follow him back. And then when he saw that I didn't follow him back, his ego got a little bit hurt, so he DM'd me. So he sends me his huge apology. His huge apology basically saying that he made a wrong, you know, wrong judgment, and that it was bad judgment on his part, and that he's sorry, and he's realized so much, and that ever since we haven't been talking, that he has this void in him, and that he misses our friendship. So I'm like, you know, thank you for the apology. Like, I'll always accept an apology. Thank you so much for that. And I'm like, you know, like, you know, we can be cool again. Like, I understand and I accept it. But I was like, I have some questions that I need to be answered. So I'm gonna call you. I know he called me. He called me, he explained to me the whole situation about what happened with his ex, X, Y, and Z, cool. And I think, like, I don't know what it was, but at the end of that conversation, I'm like, so what you're saying is that if your ex hadn't messed up again, that you would still be talking to her and we would have no conversation right now. Like, oh, you're sorry that you hurt me, you feel bad, you fucked over a good person, but you didn't realize any of the... It would be different if he woke up one day and was like, wow, I fucked up with Dakota. What am I doing? I hurt her. She's a good girl. She doesn't deserve that. And if he were to reach out to me under those circumstances, I think it'd be a little bit different, because people do make mistakes and people do wake up one day and realize, like, oh my God, wow, like, I shouldn't have done that. I've had that happen many times in my life. And maybe under those circumstances, it would be a little bit different, but because it was more so a conversation where it was like, yeah, she screwed me over again, so now we're done, and you know, I miss talking to you. I'm like, so you weren't thinking about my hurt, you weren't thinking about my feelings, you weren't thinking about my despair when you stopped talking to me and got back with her literally in 24 hours. You weren't thinking about it then. You were only thinking about yourself and your feelings, but now that somebody hurt you in the way that you hurt me, now you care about my feelings? Respectfully, go to hell. So literally, I got off the phone and I got the ick, and when I get the ick with you, it's signed, sealed, delivered, done. And you are not mine. Like, I am literally, when I get the ick, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to do it. No, nothing. So he would sometimes like message me and I would sometimes answer, but I was like kind of playing it low, because I'm like, you know, I still think he's like a good person. I think that he just is misguided and is unhealed, right? So I'm just like, you know, I'd answer him sometimes. We maintained like a little bit of a friendship, and then we kind of like stopped talking. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about him, because I have this thing where if I don't talk to somebody for a while, I forget about them. I'm not joking. Like, you could be my best friend, but if we go 3 months without talking, I will literally forget you exist, because I have a thing called object permanence. And so like, if this cream right here, right, if it's not on my vanity, I won't use it. If it's in a drawer somewhere, I won't wake up one day and be like, oh, I need to go use my cream. My blender, if I put my blender inside my cabinet, I won't make smoothies for a year. And I think the same thing goes with people. Like, object permanence is like people too. Like, if I don't see you, talk to you, nothing, I will literally forget that you exist, which is why I think it's so easy for me sometimes to move on, is because if I block you off everything and I don't see you, I will literally forget you exist. I forget that I forget like half of my ex-boyfriends, because I just don't think about them, talking about them, nothing. I don't care. Like, I literally don't care about them whatsoever. So I forgot about it. And then one day he liked my story, and so I'm like, oh, I forgot about him. Like, yeah, he exists, cool. He liked my story, and I go to his profile and he unfollowed me. And I'm like, but you just liked my story, so why did you unfollow? What was the point of apologizing? What was the whole point of this Oscar-worthy, Leonardo DiCaprio, well thought out, 3 paragraphs, MLA cited, you know, format apology, just for you to do it all over? What was the point? What was the point? What was the reason? What was the reason? What was the reason? Don't understand. So I'm like, I literally said, you are so... I said out loud, you are the biggest fucking weirdo I've ever met in my damn life. Unfollowed him, blocked his number 2, and I'm like, you're fucking weird. I want nothing to do with you ever again. Bye, bye, bye. Like, get out. Like, you're weird. So I don't know. I think like men are so weird. Unhealed men are so weird. Like, what is the reason? I literally have an ex who has a baby on the way, has a literal offspring on the way, who still looks at my stories and like checks on me to see what I'm doing. Sir, what the hell? What are you doing? Go buy diapers and wipes and get your baby registration, baby shower registration put together. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Why are you on my page? Why are you on my page? And he's not the only one. And that's why I know I'm not the problem, because none of my exes are in happy relationships. None of my exes are thriving. None of my exes are doing shit with their life. So I know that I'm not the problem. And I think that's a great note to end this video on. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching another episode of Dakota's Diary. Thank you for getting ready with me. Be sure to give Dossier a shout out and use my code Dakota10 for 10% off your order at checkout. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and also comment down below because it helps my engagement, but also I love talking to you guys. Follow me on all my social medias. Everything is basically just Dakota with an extra A cross. Follow my podcast, Sis Let's Heal. And yeah, I'm back and I'm so excited to be back. Thank you guys for giving me some time to work on the old mental health noggin up here. It's really appreciated, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Oh no, I won't, because I need a post notification shout out. Post notification shout out goes to Tara Bruno because she commented something so funny. She said, Dakota knows the deal. The man who wants you wants you. In some cases, it's the woman who don't do that much to get that ring. That's just how it is, period. Yes, girl, it is. Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's because of subscribers like you that I get to do what I love every single day, and I just really appreciate you so much. So Tara, thank you so much for being subscribed to the Dakota Crew family. If you want to be on my next post notification shout out, all you have to do is comment something down below. Turn your post notifications on by clicking the bell icon. It will basically just remind you of every single time I post here on YouTube, which is kind of sporadic, so it's kind of important to have those on. And then if I like your comment, I'll shout you out, girl. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you in my next video. Stay safe, wear condoms, don't let anybody's dusty, rusty, crusty son get you in your feelings, and have a good day. Bye.
Baby, I wonder, would you just put your sweats on me? Yeah. I got the plug.